call the January 4th reorganization meeting of the Joint Zoning Council to order. Let's just welcome, we've got a couple of new faces in the group here, so maybe we can just go around and we can introduce ourselves. I'm Chuck Roganiewski. I've been supervisor, this is my 35th year, I think, and been serving as the jointure chair since I guess the late 90s. I took over from Bud Baldwin when Bud retired as a supervisor. I assumed that role. So been a lot of fun. I'm on my third revision to the comprehensive plan for those that are talking about these things. So we'll go around the room. Dan, introduce yourselves.
Okay, sorry I'm late.
No.
I'm Tim Thomas. I'm a supervisor in Upper Makefield. I was the treasurer for the past year, and Chester, arm behind my back, said you're going to do it for another year. But we made big improvements. I've got quick and working well. So nice to work with everybody. It's a great committee. It does great, important work for the community.
I'm Peggy Driscoll. I'm the chair of the Newtown Township Planning Commission, been a member for 17 years and going on my third year as chair.
Ben Weldon, supervisor in Upper Makefield.
Ron Taylor, supervisor in Upper Makefield, not one of the new supervisors. Nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard.
I'm Yvette Taylor, chair of Upper Makefield Supervisors.
Dennis Fisher, chair of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors. And I was on planning commission with Peggy before that. So.
Tom Sino, Upper Makefield supervisor.
Ellen Snyder, Newtown Township Supervisor.
Jane Magny, Wrightstown Township Supervisor for some 29 years.
Joe Conroy, Wrightstown Planning Commission Chairman. I don't know, 10 years, and then probably 5 more years as chairman.
You just love it that much.
No, it's just good continuity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Vicki Kushto. I am the solicitor for Wrightstown Township. This is my second go around in representing the jointure.
Lisa?
Lisa Wolf, senior planner at the Bucks County Planning Commission. And I probably have you all meet. I think I've been there like 36 years, maybe. I'm an old timer.
I'm Jeremy Stock. I'm a planner also at the Bucks County Planning Commission. I've been there for 5 years.
Very good. So welcome, everybody. What I am going to do is send around a list with phone numbers and email lists, and also these have got all the old township positions on it for chair and so forth. If you guys could just update it, or any of the information needs to get updated, I'd appreciate it. That way we have something that's current. So the first item is to elect a chair for this year. Do we have any nominations?
I'll make a motion to re-elect Chester to keep his tenure going.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion, the second. Anyone else interested? All right, then we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Tom Sino for vice chair.
I'll second.
I'm gonna leave this to supervisors for the purposes of, I mean, I should have said that, for the purposes of the selection of the officers, we're gonna have the supervisors making motions and seconding, because that's kind of that's the formal process.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a second. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Ellen Snyder, and I promise it's not because of her Jolly Ranchers.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so we have Tom C. Any other nominations? All right, so I guess we will call the vote. So each township gets one vote. So, Newtown?
Make it fair.
You guys want That's it.
Ellen Snyder.
Ellen? You're voting Newtown? Yeah, that's, yeah, right, yes, okay. Upper Makefield,
With that, oh, Ellen,
Ellen, all right. Is that consensus for the Upper Makefield Board?
And so is it only one vote for?
One vote, well, there's one vote per township.
Right, well, he's the representative, so.
Well,
I'm not sure that
now every supervisor gets the vote, but it's the majority vote. So with the 5-member vote, if you have 3-2, it's the 3 versus the 2.
Right. Well, I'll go for Thompson,
All right, anyone else?
I think they have the 3.
I think I'm
You
3.
got the
So
3, all right, so Ellen, congratulations. All right, we need to elect the treasurer. Actually, we could call the vote. Need to elect the treasurer. And I'm gonna nominate Tim because we need to, it helps with the continuity in terms of trying to keep the books in order. We have a second.
I'll second.
I need to come from the supervisor.
Yeah, it should come from the supervisor.
I'll second.
All right, so there's a motion and second. Anyone else for treasurer? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so congratulations, Tim.
thanks, I guess.
Got a new computer.
The one election you don't want to win.
Computer working.
I'm giving 1 year's notice.
The 2 jobs that people hate are the minutes and the books. I'm not sure in which order. We need to confirm that the First National Bank is our depository. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Jane, in a second.
Second.
Ellen. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We don't have a secretary to appoint. Do we want to confirm the salary for the secretary at $18 an hour, or do we want to just let it ride?
Say that again. We don't have anybody that we're paying the $18.
No, we're not paying anybody $18 an hour, but we have it on the books as $18 an hour, which is the current position, current rate if we were going to hire somebody. So
Chester isn't charging $18 an
I
hour.
know. We're not paying them. Yeah,
my normal technical writing rate is $100 an hour. So, you're getting a deal. But
Chester, do we want to find someone? It's a big bird. Like, why do you get stuck doing it all?
I keep asking around and nobody seems to. I've checked with our staff. I don't know if there's anybody in Newtown or up in Makefield, but
I could ask you to come in.
see if there's some. Because we used to have Helen Randall. Who remembers Helen? Helen used to be the secretary for a long time.
Of the park?
Of the park, yes, I had Helen Randall, yes.
And then Ethel Hibbs.
Then Ethel Higgs for the longest time. So it's
So what's the going rate for this? I have no idea.
for secretary,
Yeah, it's
$18 an hour.
Yeah, I know that we're offering, but you're not getting any takers. I don't know if it's because of the salary or some other.
Well, it's only minimal amount of work hour, sort of.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
But I don't know.
Because there's no money to it, that's the problem.
Well, I don't entertain a motion for $100 an hour. I'll just keep doing it.
But I don't.
$100.
These days.
It was money.
Chester, does that $18 only
cover when they're at the meeting, and does it cover the time it takes to write the minutes?
It basically covers the time of the meeting. It covers the whole job. So it covers the minutes, the time of the meeting, distributing stuff, emails, notifications, any other kinds of things the secretary would be doing. So.
So it's probably like $100 a month at last.
Yeah,
Probably like that.
I think it's less.
Yeah.
What was that? Less.
Yeah, which,
So how does everybody feel about $20 an hour?
Why not?
All right.
Take some of this off of you.
Well, and we'll see whether we can find somebody that, if each of the townships would poll folks within the range that might be interested, that'd be great. Yes. So do we have a motion then to authorize the paying of $20 an hour for the secretary?
So moved.
should this be sort of advertised on the website?
Could be.
You know, it may help to get a broader audience to select from. I don't know.
All right, so we have Dennis as a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Tim, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We need to confirm the meeting dates for our meetings, which is the first Thursday of each month at 7:30. With the exception that
July.
for July, because that's the 4th of July, Vicky also advertised Thursday, June 27th and Thursday, July 11th. Okay, so we kind of bracketed both sides. Just in case we need to have a meeting, we have it advertised. But those are, really tough dates anyways to try to get anybody together. But we put it on the schedule just in case, because we're not going to be here July the 4th. So do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Jane, do we have a second?
Second.
Ellen? Right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. From the annual assessment, there were provided there's some copies up front. I was not able to send these out by email. It's basically breaks down the assessment of all 3 townships. So we have a $22,000 budget for the year. The allocation for the Newtown is 47.09%, which is $10,363. Upper Makefield is 37.88%, which is $8,334, and Wrightstown is 15.03%, which is $3,307. So that comes up to 22,000 is the total. Do we have a motion to approve that assessment?
So moved.
Tim? Give a second.
Second.
Dennis? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you didn't get a copy, I've got some up front. I can send them out by email. I just didn't get a chance to do that today. Sorry. We need to confirm the Bucks County Courier Sciences are advertising our advertiser of record. So do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ellen, a second?
Second.
Ben? All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, good. We need to confirm the Wrightstown solicitor as jointure solicitor for the year, and that's Clemens, Richter, and Reese. So you have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Jane, a second.
Second.
Dennis. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, we need to confirm the planning consultants as the Bucks County Planning Commission, in particular, Lisa Wolf and Jeremy Stahl. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Would you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And this year, the auditor would track the joint solicitor rotation. So I'm recommending that we nominate David Del Bianco, who's Wrightstown, one of Wrightstown's elected auditors, to do the audit. So I'm going to make that motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Dennis? Aye. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we'll move on to the normal agenda. And we have the minutes of December the 7th. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Jane? Peggy? Now everybody can vote on these things at this point. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Treasurer's report, Tim?
Right, if you indulge me, let me give a quick recap of where we are with, particularly for our new members. So John Mack had graciously been treasurer for a couple of years. It was handed to me. Everything was on paper, so literally boxes full of records and everything. So I've got everything well organized, binders, all the invoices, statements, etc. I then asked the committee to invest in a laptop for a couple of reasons. One is we can have electronic record keeping and also get a Quicken program. So I very much appreciate the jointure approving that. So I'm no expert on Quicken, but I'm getting there. I've got my first report out. I guess the question, Chester, I don't know if we resolved. I mean, do we want to start getting stuff on the cloud someplace like right now, if somebody wants to see a law firm statement from 18 months ago, like I literally have to go down to my basement and dig it up. I don't know how far we need to go back. Do we need to have stuff electronically stored, or we can keep it on paper? Because now I'm going to literally have to hit. Another reason electronic is now I can just hand it over to the next treasurer, right? We can have everything electronically. They can have a whole check register, all the invoices, et cetera. It just seems a lot cleaner, but I don't know if there's any legality or whatever with having stuff stored, or is paper okay? Because it does involve, if we put it on the cloud, then I really don't want to do this, but everything's going to have to be scanned in, I guess, and emailed to the server. I mean, I'll do it if we think that's the way to go, but.
Yeah, my only question is how are we gonna maintain that server and who's gonna be responsible for it? So that's
All right.
that's
Okay.
I know, like we're putting all the minutes in the agenda. They're all going on the E-code system. So everything's available to those who want to scan it, but I don't know that I want to include the details. So not that there's anything tied with the solicitor's reports, but I don't know that that's something that we need to put out,
Okay.
on a for everybody to see. So.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. I'll pass around. Here's the good news. We're spot on. We match up with the bank and Quicken perfectly. I've got like 8 copies, so it's just not for everybody. I will work. For some reason, only one transaction came through. If anybody wants to see the check register, they're welcome to. And also the committee, tell me what you want for an ideal report. You want to see who got how much, like which checks were written? We can do that. I mean, I just have to practice a little bit more on Quicken. I mean, I assume what you want to know is how much money do we have left, how much have we spent. I can do itemized reports on how much goes to legal, how much goes to technology, whatever. So it's really up to you guys how detailed you want it to be. I apologize. This is not great, but the numbers are accurate at least.
Oh, okay, that's summer.
Okay. Just how much we have in the bank.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if anybody wants to ever see anything, just ask me. I'll print it out for you.
We should have the list of what checks we wrote during that month,
Okay,
so that everybody gets to see that.
all right.
Who they went to.
Who they went to, all right, and the amounts, obviously. Okay.
Is the challenge putting it in the software? I'm wondering if it would be a workaround, if that is an issue, would just to have a list separately.
We know, on Quicken, you can go in and just put, it'll say checks issued.
Yeah, honestly,
You can put from January 1 to March 31st.
yeah, I just didn't know how that's the issue, so, but I did invest in this and I paid for my own money. That's a good one. That's how I got through college. So I'll figure out, so I could do it, I just have to figure out how, so.
So, but this report, there's 3 checks.
There were 3 checks written in that time period.
Right, in this time
Yeah,
period. So, but you could tell us like what the were.
absolutely, yep. So 12/7, Kilkenny Law. David Decco got a check, and then Bucks County Planning Commission got a check. So it's easy to do, I just have to.
What was the Kilkenny law amount?
For what date?
Well, the most recent,
12/7.
yeah,
Well, so that was 975.
and we wrote that check already, or have we?
It's been passed, so anything I put on there, so I have a reconcile thing on here. So I go in online banking, make sure it's cleared, and then I hit reconcile, so that check is cleared. Yes.
Okay, and so I did see another bill that seems to be probably Tuesday or Wednesday in Kilkenny for about $400 some odd dollars.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. So I did not put that on tonight's report because we haven't signed it yet. So, but I could because so technically the account is less 450 after tonight. So I'll write out the check, Chester and I will sign it, we'll mail it out. But if you want it really, really up to date, I can do
Yeah,
that.
well, we should try to get these papers like that check or invoice should be presented at this meeting so that we can basically approve it. Because I'm gonna suggest that we don't pay that last bill.
Okay,
So Kilkenny Law, because I did an audit of their bills. I do this every year at the end of the year. And I did an audit of the 2023 invoices that the jointure paid for.
yep,
So one of them that goes back to February 8th was attend the Board of Supervisors meeting. So that it was your meeting and it was, February the 8th was your meeting date.
Okay.
And then there was another one for Newtown, which was discussed with Chair, basically how to do the addendum to the comprehensive plan, which would have been a Newtown expense as opposed to a jointure expense.
Because you talked to me as chair or?
Yeah, it says telephone call with Dennis Fisher, Chair, and Dave Sander. Response email from Lisa Wolf, Bucks County Planning Commission concerning the proper documents to include the Newtown Township addendum to the comprehensive plan. So that's like $125. And then for the month of July, we got charged twice for attending the meeting. So there's $225 to attend the meeting and then another $225 to attend the same meeting.
Is there any chance I was going to,
Another solicitor in that because they code each one with the actual solicitor. So if Kaylee were here, her thing would show up as a charge, and it does. With one of the things, and then the And then there were a couple additional charges that had to do with reprocessing of the Writing Academy ordinance because it was messed up the first time around. So I'm suggesting that Kilkenny eat that. that cost. So there's $632.50 that I'm calling them on, so
How much? Say it again.
$632.50. So, if the council doesn't have an objection, I'll send an email to them and with the documentation asking them to reverse the charges.
So how did they handle the charge where it was a Newtown charge? Would
Well,
Newtown then take it?
well, yeah, they would have to build Newtown for, as a, and that happened like a year ago where there was, a Newtown charge on ours. So they reversed it on ours and I assume they charged Newtown for that.
I find it hard to believe a lawyer would ever overbill.
You didn't hear that.
There was an internal coding problem, I'm sure, that's all. It was just a mistake. It went from one to the other.
They are just so busy,
Yeah, that's right. It happens all the time.
So
Oh.
we'll get that squared away.
Chester, while we're on.
I do look, by the way, Vicky.
I had an audit done when I took over. Should we do that yearly? Should I get it done again or what's? the
Yeah,
policy?
we appointed Dave Del Bianco from Wrightstown's, who's Wrightstown's auditor, to do the audit
Okay,
of the books.
all right.
So we'll put you in touch with him.
Okay,
And then he can get.
And he is a CPA.
Oh, good. All right. I'll be horrified to see my work. Oh, balance this.
Dave does a pretty good job of auditing the Wrightstown books and as well as the Picado books and the jointure books on occasion. All right. I guess formally, do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report as we have it?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
For that? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna have to figure out, I always use the last name, but I got a real problem. I'll have to add first initial. So we're gonna skip over solicitor's report if we could, because I want to make sure that we cover items with the comprehensive plan. Because I think it's important that we kind of try to keep that moving forward.
So I'll start us off, I guess. So I think it was last week, circulated a red line version of the most recent draft of the comprehensive plan, along with a summary outline of the changes that were made as collected by the 3 municipalities. We didn't really plan on going through all the changes today in their entirety, given that most of them were pretty minor in nature. That said, if there were, I think most people have had a chance to read through it and look at the changes. So if there were items that, needed to be discussed, we're happy to field that discussion. I don't know, if not though, I think the next step would be to probably, I guess, finalize the changes and issue a new draft for review again by the 3 municipalities.
I think, depending on how the committee, if you accept the changes or if you want to have, any other changes, once you decide that document, the document is how you want it, then my understanding is that we would make the changes in the next draft, and then it would be sent out as long as the committee agrees. And I don't know if you need to vote on it, but it would be sent back to the townships. So the townships could see all the changes. Because this committee, the list of the changes of all 3 communities was put together by Jeremy, and he made the changes in the document. But each township hasn't seen the other townships suggested changes.
I would like to, I would like our planning commission to have another look at the changes and have a discussion and see any comments that we have from our members.
So that would be like if this committee is good, you make the next draft. Is that point? You're
Well, I
saying
think that
goes back to
Upper
the
Make Rights Town made changes to what we had settled on. So I just would like our members to go over them and see if there's any discussion or any changes maybe that we want to make.
That sounds fair.
When can you get the planning commission to look at it?
I forwarded everything to Mary and I think she forwarded it to our members. I'll double check. But we haven't met since the beginning of December. We're meeting in 2 weeks. So we're probably looking at maybe our first meeting in February.
So joint first meeting in February.
All right.
Say the joint first meeting in February.
No, for our plan.
So that will mean that we would not take any action to officially move it forward until our March meeting.
Right.
So, okay with everyone?
I believe we have another comment.
Yes.
I hope I can get rid of it, excuse me. I might need people's assistance. I just had, I went over the comments of Upper Mansfield Township, which were written by Will, our attorney. And I found some minor errors. And I just wanted to talk to Jeremy about this. I think they just overlooked. I'm gonna give you a copy that you can see what I'm talking about, Jeremy.
Okay,
It's really minor.
okay.
But, if you look at the Upper Makefield comments on page 4.
Of the summary.
Yeah, it's not your summary outline here. And, so, it's short, I won't keep it, this is not long. So the first, I numbered it 1 and 2, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is easy, where it says, 4B, add direct residential, non-residential development. You just didn't have it underlined as a change.
Oh, okay.
So if that sentence could just be underlined, that's fine. But if you go up to, the paragraph above it on page 23, it's number 3 in your letter. Conservation management area. A, it says add, and you added a particular emphasis should be placed on limiting development where it jeopardizes aquifer recharge. Development should prioritize aquifer recharge above all other methods of stormwater management. And that's okay. But then we had added the conservation management area shall, and then we wanted that paragraph from, you look at the 3rd page, Jeremy, that I gave you. It's from the draft of July 2022.
Yeah.
I underlined it. That paragraph is, you just took it out. It's not in there. And it was supposed to be in there. You see where I put the dot.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, your letter is the top one. The second page shows what your draft looked like. The current one you just sent out, the red line, the new red line. But it's missing what's on the 3rd page, which was from the July 22nd, July 2022. Draft. See, Will has in there the conservation management area shall, he wanted that continued. And you just took that whole thing out, or somebody did.
How does it read, actually?
I can do it too. If I don't start talking, I call it.
Yeah, hand it off.
All right. All right, so this is the way it started. This is what's in it. It's currently in the letter that Jeremy gave, copy that Jeremy gave us. This area, conservation management area. This area, much of which is at a distance from development districts, generally lacks sufficient highway capacity and adequate municipal facilities to support intensive development. It also includes a variety of important natural resources, including aquifer recharge areas. Then we wanted to add a particular emphasis should be placed on limiting development where it jeopardizes aquifer recharge. Development should prioritize aquifer recharge above all other methods of stormwater management. Then Will's comments, which were our comments, says the conservation management, and he goes dot, dot, dot. And that's where he left this out, which I'm going to read right now. Conservation management areas shall be reserved for low intensity uses in order to encourage the continuation of farming, to provide for groundwater recharge, and to provide a balance of land uses throughout the jointure between these areas and the more extensively developed portions of the community located near the borough of Newtown and in the other development districts of the 3 townships.
I see it now. Yeah, I'm not sure how that got removed, but we'll make sure it gets back in.
So I didn't read any of the other townships material. I just read Upper Makefield. That was what I was familiar with. Thanks.
Yep.
Actually, I have one too, but I don't know if it's relevant or not. It's just a sort of detail. On page 6, number 12, page 59, administration. Actually, the Wrightstown administration duties do not include park and rec.
So just strike Parks and Rec.
Well, it doesn't for Wrightstown, but it does for Upper Makefield and Newtown, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Definitely already.
Okay. Okay.
Does Joe, does Wrightstown Planning Commission want to take a look at this?
Yeah, we'll look at it. I already put a note on.
All right. Upper Makefield Planning Commission will take another look at it, or
Well, we were the last to take a look at it, right? So,
hopefully there's no more people need to take a
And
look.
we'll see it next, we'll do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
No, I haven't received our agenda yet or our planning, so I'll call Mary tomorrow and see what's on there and if we
All right.
can get it on.
Yeah, because if you get it approved, then we can actually move forward at the
Yeah.
beginning of February. Because the months seem to go really quickly when we're having fun.
Well, like I said, we haven't met since the beginning of December. We haven't, I know they took it down. We got a full plate.
It's to keep the environment clean. Anything else on the top plan that we want to talk about?
Yeah, we'll make.
Because it is. So you're going to make those changes and get those back out.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So we'll make the changes that were just discussed tonight, and then email out the digital
Okay.
update. What I guess was taken away.
So Peggy, watch out for those changes that are coming through so that you have the most recent current. All right, Anything else in the comp plan? We do have, and we talked a little bit about it at the last meeting, is we were asked if we would sign basically it's a professional services agreement with the Bucks County Planning Commission. I guess the last one we did was 2000, was it 2000?
2003.
2003, so time to update. Everyone had a copy of it at the last meeting.
I did email it out today. There had been a question when we talked about it last month. There had been a question about the indemnity. So the solicitor from last month and then our solicitor sort of talked a little bit back and forth, I believe. And then Jerry, who was the solicitor for the jointure last month, went back and looked at it, and he indicated he was fine with the language. So maybe, I don't know if you want to look at it further, but it's very similar to the current PSA, the current planning services agreement. The commissioners, I want to say maybe in 2018, did vote to increase our what we charge, but it went up by like $5. So I think we talked about that last month. It's very, very minimal. And we have not been charging the jointure for the increase just because we're working under the old contract. So our office right now is in the process of making sure all the contracts we have with municipalities is updated with current language and costs.
I think the history of that is in 2003 is when the Bucks County Planning Commission became consultant to the group.
Oh, was that?
I think so.
Okay.
Mhm.
So who was before? I didn't realize.
Michael Frank.
Yeah, Mike Frank.
Oh, okay, because Mike Frank had been with the planning commission and then when he left, okay.
Correct.
I didn't realize that.
And then Lynn did it for years until she retired.
Mhm.
You want to check there, it is on our agenda for our first week.
It is. Okay, great. So do we have consensus to sign off on the planning services agreement?
Is the hourly rate going from $18 to $20?
It's the executive director is $80, the director is 70, senior planner is 60, planner is 50, GAS services is 50, administrative is 40, meeting attendance is hourly rate for the personnel in attendance. And it's roughly $5 more than we paid before.
Right, and actually, we only charge for one of us to attend the meeting.
Thank you very much.
There's consensus from me.
All right. Dennis, you want to make a motion then?
Sure, so I can make a motion to adopt the planning services agreement with Bucks County Planning Commission.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Jane? Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. I'll sign this after the meeting and we'll get that up.
Thank you.
All right, so let's cycle back to solicitors report. I don't know that we don't have any ordinances that are going to be adopted or discussing really, but just kind of set the agenda for what we need to get done.
Yeah, I can sort of run through what's on here. So the first is the wireless communications ordinance. It's my understanding that some recent revisions were provided by the consultant from the Cohen Group. I don't know, have they been circulated to
We
everybody?
haven't seen those yet.
Okay, I got them recently from the solicitor, so I will send them out along with the email from him that has his response and what he did so that everybody can see them, and then we'll bring that back to talk about it again.
Are they charging us for the revision, or is it kind of included?
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. I would have to go back and ask Jerry what they're doing.
All right.
I don't know whether that was included with the original contract with them to do a certain amount of revisions or if they're charging every time they do something. I know some of the revisions, just in reading the email, had to do with some updates to the law that they wanted to comply with. And some of them were from comments that were received actually from the jointure. So, but I will ask that question.
Because I mean, I feel we paid a substantial amount of money for the ordinance,
I agree.
so hopefully it's included.
Attorneys keep charging.
I think half the board is conflicted out. It's like you're sweating over there. Or maybe you're good. Rat out the other guy.
The second thing is, we're still working on the modification to the jointure agreement. So comments have been received by Newtown and by Wrightstown. We're just waiting for comments from Upper Makefield. Next is the electric vehicle charging stations. This was proposed by Newtown. The draft was circulated for review and we haven't received comments yet from anyone on that draft. The billboard use ordinance, I know this says it was in front of the Newtown Planning Commission. I know one of the things that we're waiting for is information from all of the townships about where these can go within the townships where you'd like to allow them. Next is the expansion of the non-conforming structures. This was with regard to height. This was proposed by Wrightstown. It's moved through the entire process with Wrightstown Township. We're just still waiting for input from Newtown and Upper Makefield. It's a minor change that has to do with the definition of non-conforming structures. And then last on this list is the parking core apartment building use. This was the private request. Input was received from Wrightstown Township. We're just awaiting comment from Upper Makefield.
They want to come on our agenda. They wanted to come on our January meeting. So I imagine sometime in February, they're going to be coming before planning the DET project.
Okay, what's the likelihood that we're gonna hear anything back from Upper Makefield on that?
No.
I'm looking at everybody, not just one. Looking at everyone.
From you. Comment against.
That's the nice.
And we've got any input from the Bucks County Planning Commission on that too, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
We haven't discussed it at our meeting yet at all, for the budget board. Okay.
We will work on.
Okay, if you need any of the information or any of the documentation, just let me know and I'll recirculate it to everybody.
I would ask, Vicky, could you, at least for Wrightstown,
Mhm.
could you make sure our planning commission is looking at those two ordinances?
Which two, the billboard and the electric vehicle?
Yes.
Yes.
So-
Joe, will you put that on our agenda
Yeah,
for next week,
I
please?
just made a comment.
I don't think we've got them yet.
We haven't talked about them at all at our level.
No, that's what I'm saying. We
I'm
haven't
just
seen
saying,
them.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
need to get pushed
Yes.
over there.
Yeah, we need to get them.
Yeah.
I'll get them. I have them.
Okay.
I'll make sure you have them to send to everybody. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Perfect.
How critical is the non-conforming structures?
It's a minor nuisance thing because
It's been languishing for a while.
Yeah.
yeah. Basically what happens in Wrightstown is somebody has a garage or part of their house is in a side yard. And they want to put a second floor to the, second floor addition for the house. We always have to send them back to the zoning hearing board because you're not allowed to expand the structure if it's in the side yard or in the setback area. So we were trying to work out something where, if you're going up, we have some latitude in terms of allowing our zoning officer to allow those additions to be built without having to go to the zoning hearing board. The zoning hearing board gives them the variance. I mean, it's kind of, it's really a nuisance at this point.
Right. And it's
These are
really,
in older homes, that's been there for a long time before we even had the zoning.
Yeah, well, a lot of those properties are half acre lots, but in 1983, we rezoned all of them 1 acre. So every one of those lots are non-conforming. So we've kind of forced that issue.
Right. And this is specifically with regard to height, just to allow them to be able to go up to, because the way the definition was before, you couldn't even meet the height of the old house. It had to comply with the current height requirements. So if the current height is less, you have to have kind of like a lopsided house because you weren't allowed to go up and match the roof of what you have currently. And that doesn't seem to make sense. So it's relatively minor ordinance, but something that we think needs to be fixed. And that's the list.
All right. Any questions?
It shouldn't be too hard to get rid of some of these soon, right? Billboard, non-conforming.
If we get feedback from the planning commissions, then we can, start moving on that.
See which ones we are.
All right. I have one last thing I added to the agenda. Last meeting, we talked about the last meeting I mentioned that we had, I had an email from General Code to find out if we wanted to recodify what we're doing. No. So they sent us a proposal anyways as to whether we want to recodify the one ordinance, which was the Riding Academy ordinance. So they would do the recodification for $700 to $800. Now, it's currently in the zoning ordinance under new laws, so anybody can go in there and find it. The question is whether we want to spend the money to add one page to the zoning ordinance, which is essentially what that is.
I thought we sort of concluded that we'll wait until this year to do that.
I know,
we have
we
the
did
others.
that, but because I got a new
Oh,
proposal from them, I want to just bring it back here and say, and is that what we really want to do? And I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure they're, before I send back a no on this one. Is everybody comfortable just waiting?
There was some other qualification work, or whatever, remember?
Yes, we probably, well, yeah, and until we get a few more ordinances, there aren't going to be any more. We're not going to need to recodify until the end of this year. So I'm okay with waiting, so everyone else is. Okay, so the consensus is I'll tell them, sorry, but understand. All right. Okay, privilege of the floor. Any open discussion from the members? Any public comment? All right. Our next meeting will be February the 1st here. Any questions? We have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Ben and Alec. All in favor?
Hi.
All right, motion carries. Have a great evening, Eric.
Yeah.
I'll get it. I'll do the
Oh.
agenda and have it out.
I'll show you. So Jeremy's on.